Hello, and welcome to our podcast. We are That Weird Family. I am paranormal author Rebecca Patrick Howard, and we will be joined by my 9-year-old son Sam, and occasionally by my 5-year-old daughter Iris. We are here to talk about ghosts, folklore, urban legends, unsolved mysteries and aliens, and all things paranormal. We are that family that stays up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching horror movies, who thinks that exploring abandoned houses is good old-fashioned entertainment and bonding experiences. My kids like cemeteries. We're probably not as strange as we used to be. It seems like a lot of people are into that. If you are too, then I hope you'll sit back and relax and let us entertain you for the next little bit.
My mom won't let me go to the most haunted place in the world.
On Wednesday, I have been invited, one of my readers actually, somebody who's read my books and connected with me through them, has invited me to go ghost hunting with her at Bobby Mackey's in northern Kentucky. I've never been. It's been on like every paranormal investigation show, and I've seen a couple of episodes. To be honest, I don't know a lot about it. I just know it's supposed to be really scary. Sam's upset because I won't let him go with us.
You need to film every single second of it.
I am going to film every single second of it.
I don't trust you.
Yeah, well, when you're old... Oh, seriously, dude, this place is supposed to be super scary.
Who the heck is Bobby and Mackey anyway?
He was a singer, and he opened a bar. It's a bar, and he was a singer, and he opened this bar so that he could, sing at it, and apparently it's really haunted. So, they take people on tours of the whole building. So, here's an example of how scary it's supposed to be. One of the shows, like Ghost Hunters, or...
They went back 2 times.
Yeah, because I thought they brought something home with them the first time. So, Sam has been with me to a lot of haunted places, but I just feel, for one thing, it's a 3-hour tour. I think he would get really tired. So, you can probably hear our cat purring. He's purring so loud. He's such a spoiled brat. I think I need to go and check it out and just see, how the tour goes, and then you can go back with me sometime. He's glaring at me. Sorry. They say that kids are more sensitive to the paranormal or to extra or unusual energy. And I do believe that. I think I became aware of that information when I was a child. So, I believe I was in a unique position to try to capitalize on my youth at the time, because I thought, I'm a kid, I'm going to see if I have any powers or, something silly to that effect. But I did really focus on trying to communicate with the dead and whatever else might be around me. With that being said, I haven't really spoken to my own kids about that, although they have watched a lot of movies and TV shows where they've kind of gleaned that information themselves. They haven't had a lot of experiences with the paranormal. It's been hit and miss. We have had several people, mediums and psychics and such in our lives tell us that we are sensitive or that we have some kind of psychic awareness, but it's not like we wake up every day and communicate with spirits, or we walk in a haunted house and we're bombarded with energy. It's hit and miss. It seems to be random. There's no rhyme or reason as to why anything happens. The first time that I remember Sam, anything having to do with him, is he was little. He was about 2 years old, and our friend Delmer had just passed away. Sam had met Delmer a few times. Of course, he didn't really understand what death was at that point, and that Delmer had died. But my husband was teaching night classes, so he was gone 3 nights a week, and we were there by ourselves. We were sitting in the living room floor playing one night, and all of a sudden, Sam stopped what he was doing, pointed in the corner of the room, and waved and said hello. And I looked, and there wasn't anything there. And he went back to playing. Then he stopped again and cocked his head to the side like he was listening for something. And I asked him, "What's up, Sam?" And he said, "There's somebody there." And I asked him who it was, and he said a friend, but that's all he could say. And this actually went on for several nights. Sam would wave, would point. Sometimes he would walk up to the area and he would stand there and he'd look at it. He was never afraid. This wasn't anything, that seemed to bother him, which was good for me. We were renting. I ended up calling the landlords in the middle of the night and asking them if they had ever had any experiences there, and they said no. That was the second house we'd rented from them. The one before was a really old farmhouse, about 150 years old. And the owner laughed and said, if you had asked us about that house, we could have told you some stories, but none in the one that you're in. Which made me think it was, whatever was there was specific to us, like Delmer, and not to the actual house. Now, about a year later, maybe a little longer, we had moved to another house. It's the one that I talk about in my book, the Maple House. We had quite a bit of experiences there. Well, enough to warrant an entire book. Sam had a nightmare one night. We went and got him. We put him in bed with us. He was asleep, and he woke up and woke me up and pointed to the corner of the room. "Mommy, who's that bad man standing there?" And I raised up and looked, and I didn't see anyone. And I asked him, "What bad man?" "That bad man right there." This continued on for several seconds, or minutes, really. What bad man?" "Mommy, there's a bad man right there." He didn't look scared, but he looked disturbed. I woke my husband up, and, "Hey, Pete, Sam says he can see somebody standing there." Of course, Pete didn't see anyone either. We didn't want to disbelieve him, or discount what he thought he was seeing. But of course we didn't see or feel anything. So I just kept asking questions. Is he saying anything? Is he doing anything? Yes, he's looking at me. He's watching me. So finally I asked him to tell me, what does he look like? What he looked like. "Sam, what does he look like?" And this is what got weird. He cocked his head to the side, and he goes, "Well, he looks a little bit like me." Which to me was such a strange, reply, a little bit like me. I could see him saying that the figure looked like someone on TV, or someone that we knew, or someone in a book. Any of those would have made more sense, but I've never heard a child or an adult describe an apparition as looking like them. And that's not something that Sam had seen on TV and was repeating, as an explanation. So that actually spooked me. I didn't go back to sleep for a really long time after that. I may not have gone back to sleep at all that night. Over the course of the next few years, he had some other experiences with what I would call the paranormal. We've tried to talk to him about not being scared. They're not here to hurt us. You can communicate with them or not. It's up to you. That's what I was told as I was growing up. Now, we lived in a few places that had hauntings when I was a child. We didn't live in a quote-unquote haunted house until I was around 10 years old. But prior to that, we did live in houses that had some paranormal activity. The first one that I remember was a house that we lived in Hazel Green. Right after my grandmother died, I did feel her spirit there on several occasions. Nothing scary, nothing concrete. I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, but I did feel her presence there. And then that stopped for about a year and a half. I didn't see or feel anything having to do with her until we moved to Inez, which is the county seat of Martin County over in eastern Kentucky. And it was Christmas, and my mom was in the guest bedroom, and she was wrapping presents. She wouldn't let me in there, of course. She didn't want me to see them. So I was hanging out in the living room, the formal living room. I was playing on the piano, which we still have. We took it from Hazel Green Academy with us. We saved or salvaged quite a few things from the academy. Anyway, I was sitting there. I still remember I was playing. It came up on a midnight clear. It's funny things that you remember. But I was playing it, and all of a sudden I got the feeling that something was watching me. I looked up, and I very clearly saw a white figure, smoky figure, pass by me, moving very slowly. A gust of wind blew my hair back as it went by, passed by me, went all the way through the room, then turned the corner into the kitchen. And it scared me to death. I mean, I knew right away that it was my grandmother. I don't know why. And I was really close to her. Probably closer to her than anybody in my life until she died. And then that bond got closer to my mother, but up until then I was really close to Nana. So I shouldn't have been scared, but I'd just never seen anything like that before. A couple of months later, we had some other weird things happen there. Like one night, I slept with my mom. I was scared. I was 8 or 9. And one night, Mom and I were going to bed. We slept in my room. We got in bed, started to turn off the lamp, and Mom sat up in bed and pointed at the back of my bedroom door, and she had some clothes hanging there on the hanger. She asked me, "Rebecca, did you hang those there?" Like, I couldn't even reach that high. I'm 4'10". I was even shorter then. No way I was going to be able to reach the top of the door. And I said no. And so we had no idea how those clothes had moved into my bedroom. So, we had little things like that happen. But a few months after the piano incident, I was spending the night with a friend, and Mom was babysitting an infant. And she had borrowed a playpen. It was in the living room. She had taken one of my old blankets, which was solid on one side, patterned on the other, had wrapped the baby up in the blanket with the solid side pointing outwards, and the baby slept really well. But Mom wasn't used to having a baby in the house, so she got up and down throughout the night. Baby barely moved. It was sleeping very good. But the next morning, when Mom got up for the last time, the baby was turned all the way around in the playpen, which happens, of course, they're going to wiggle, but the opposite side of the blanket, so the patterned side, was facing outwards, and it was very neatly tucked all the way around the baby, the same way that my grandmother used to tuck me in at night. Mom was never a tucker. She would just throw the blanket over, and that's what she did throughout the night. If the baby became, uncovered, she would lay the blanket back over. This time it had been neatly tucked in all the way around. She was very convinced that that was my grandmother in the house. So a few years later, we moved into the haunted house that I write about in 4 Months of Terror. We actually did only live there for 4 months, never even fully unpacked. And that's the first haunted house we lived in, where we were pretty confident that the spirits were specific to the house and not necessarily to us. Although I do think my grandmother made an appearance there. Not long after we moved in, I got really, really sick. It just came all of a sudden, high fever, vomiting, just, 103, 104 degree fever. We didn't have insurance for me at the time, so there was no going to the doctor. There wasn't much Mom could do for me except try to keep the fever down and give me Gatorade. But my friend, Terry, was staying with me at the time. We hadn't been living there more than a week or two. And I was, for probably 3 days, I was in and out of consciousness with that high fever. Mom kept running out to the store to try to bring me things that I could eat or drink. And Terry and I were sleeping on a fold-out couch in the living room because it was close to the bathroom, close to the kitchen. My bedroom was upstairs, which didn't have a bathroom. Upstairs didn't have a bathroom. Anyway, Mom ran out to pick me up something to drink. Terry was watching TV or something. I became aware of Terry screaming. And I woke up, kind of groggy, like, what's going on? And Terry was standing beside me. Her face was it was solid white. The cliche, she looked like she'd seen a ghost. And she had. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she had gone in the kitchen to get something. She'd come back into the living room, and an old woman had been sitting on the bed next to me with her hand on my forehead. later we showed Terry pictures of Nana, and she said that's who I saw. In and of itself, that story may not be unique or interesting, except 30 minutes later my fever broke and I was fine. And I do honestly, in hindsight, think that probably was my grandmother who showed up to either take me to heaven or make me better, because I did get better. So, in those years, I felt that my grandmother was watching over me and was trying to protect me in whatever way she could. Unfortunately, after that experience, I never saw or felt her again, and to this day, have not. So, those are some of the experiences that I had as a child, and some that Sam had when he was little. Iris has not had any, which is peculiar to me, because I would say out of the three of us, she's probably the most sensitive. If she's seeing, feeling, or hearing anything, she is definitely keeping those things to herself and not sharing them with us. If you would like to read more about my experiences in the first haunted house we lived in, that book is called 4 Months of Terror. It is available in ebook format, Kobo, Kindle, I don't know, all the Nook, and in paperback. You can find links to the book on my website at www.rebeccaphoward.net. So, a couple of weeks ago, I told Iris, she's 5, that downtown Lexington, which is about 45 minutes from here, was doing a thriller reenactment. They've done it, this is the 15th year, I think, and it just gets bigger and bigger every year. It's like a parade. They do it down Main Street, and they reenact the whole thriller video from start to finish. And I asked her if she wanted to go see it, and she was like, no, I want to be in it. And we really talked about this, and I told her there was going to be a lot of people there, and she wanted to do it. So you had to go to at least one rehearsal, and they had it in one of the community centers downtown. We got there, the music was so loud, she immediately freaked out and backed out. So then it was just
me and Mommy.
Yeah, it was just me and Sam, and Sam's got mono, and has been out of school this will be the 3rd week. And he had just been diagnosed that day, too. So I wasn't, really keen on him, getting involved in it, because I was afraid it would make him feel worse. But he wanted to do it. And the rehearsal was only for an hour, and he was having fun. And I thought, if we just do it tonight, then that's fine. We had so much fun learning the dance that we didn't want to back out. Plus, it was like $11 a person to sign up for it. We didn't want to lose our money.
We paid $33 for 3 people.
Yeah, so, we're kind of cheap. We spend our money, we are in it till the end. We are in it to win it. Well, Iris decided that she would do the dance on the night of the parade. She just wouldn't go to rehearsals because they were so loud. So for the past...
So we did it at home.
Yeah, we pulled up YouTube videos and we've been rehearsing. And let me say, she knew the dance better than me and Sam. Iris was really getting into it. She was excited, she was practicing, she was up with me every night getting the moves down. So on our way to Thriller the other night, we hear they are expecting 10,000 people in the streets to watch. 10,000 people. So I tell Sam, I'm like, don't worry, there's over 1,000 of us signed up to do the dance. I said, don't worry, we'll get in the middle, we'll blend in, and nobody will even be able to see us.
There was 25 people in our group.
There were 12.
Everyone was trying to get in the middle, too. We looked behind us, and there's about 100 people.
So what they do is, because there were so many of us, they broke it up into 4 groups, and each one started at a different point, and then we do the dance, and when it's over, we walk down the street a little bit, and then we do the dance again. So if you start at the very back, you end up doing the dance 11 times. We
did it 4.
Yeah, we did it 4. We started near the end of the parade route. But yeah, so we get there, it is wall-to-wall people.
Iris got backed out because someone was dressed as Scream with,
blood or something. Yeah, she was scared of the costume. She backed out. She's like, nope, not going to do it. So it's just it was just me and Sam, and
we barely knew the dance.
we didn't even know the second half.
No one knew the dance.
We didn't even know the second half of the dance. So we get there, and we kind of stand off to the side, because what happens is after Michael does his solo part at the beginning, us zombies are supposed to push through the crowd and go out in the street and follow him and start doing, that part of the dance. Well, everybody was in costume, so it was hard to know how many of us were actually dancing zombies. So our part comes, we push out of the crowd into the street, we look around, and he's right, there's like 25 of us, maybe not that many. And none of us really knew the dance. We were all counting on, like, the other people in the group knowing it. So Sam and I...
If you saw a small group that only did it 4 times, if you looked behind us, you know what I'm talking about. There's about 5 million people.
We looked behind us at one point. The group behind us had 150 people. I mean, that's like the difference between our group and the others. Luckily...
And I just tapped on everyone's shoulder, and I made them all look back and look at everyone.
Well, luckily there was one girl in our group who knew it really well, so we all watched her, and I made sure that she stayed in front. But people were watching me and Sam because we knew the dance better than them, and we hardly knew it at all. Oh my God, talk about...
If we were good at the dance and we barely knew it, everyone else must have been terrible.
I don't know. I mean, I think we all did great. By the time... I was so scared. I mean, I was holding his hand going out in the street. We were terrified. And then we got out there and we looked around. One of the women even goes, "Oh my God, where is everybody?" We all wanted to run out. But I mean, you're out there. What can you do? You have to go through with it.
Punch into everyone.
Well, let me tell you, by the time we got through the 4th one, I felt like a friggin' rock star. I mean, people were screaming, they were clapping for us, they were cheering us on, and it was so much fun. There was news crews there, and they were following us and right up in our faces, taking pictures.
Blah, blah, blah. And everyone was calling me a girl, saying, I could hear them whispering behind my back, "Hey, watch the girl up front."
And they're talking about me.
Wow.
Or maybe they were talking, about the girl up front.
Oh.
You were in the middle, Dodo Bird.
They were right behind me, and they said...
Okay. So, Sam did a great job. I mean, he's 9 years old, he had mono, and he rocked the hell out of the Thriller dance. I'm so proud of him.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Sam does have a YouTube channel. It's called Ghost Kids. He's got lots of videos.
Kids Sam.
Ghost Kids Sam in the search engine. You can also find it on my website.
And
a link to it.
please subscribe. There's barely been any subscribers.
He's panhandling for subscribers at this point.
Please.
Our podcast is called That Weird Family, and it's true. We are a little bit weird. We do some strange things, but nobody is ever going to accuse us of not doing things with the kids. I felt bad though, because the next day, Sunday,
you pulled me out of school for a week so we could go to...
That was different. That was a year ago and you broke your arm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course I remember.
God. We have fun. We do weird stuff. I do feel bad because after the day after the Thriller dance, he did feel really awful. And of course, we were out and it was warm. It wasn't cold, but we were out in the night air. He was dancing for about 30 minutes. But I mean, honestly, the way this mono is going, he's going into the 4th week of it. He has spurts of energy and stuff. And when he has it, I like for him to do what he can. And I don't want him to miss out. If he had been feeling really bad, there's no way I would have had him do it. But did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. That was our weekend. I'd like to thank everybody for being here with us tonight. We've been on a horror movie binge lately, I guess. The month of October just finished up, so there were lots of things on TV. Now, we live out in the country. We live about 15 to 20 minutes to our town, which is very small. It's just a few streets. We don't have a Walmart in the county or any chain stores. We have some fast food places, but there's nowhere to really shop except for locally owned places. It's good. I prefer that anyway, but just trying to give you an idea of how rural we are. The word's hard for me to say, rural. And we're almost 45 minutes to the next town of any size. Well, we're up on a ridge out in the country, and when it snows, it's hard to get out. Now, we're lucky that one of the road clearing crew lives on our road, so our road is one of the first ones to get cleared. But when it's just pouring down buckets of snow and you've got 3 snowplows for the entire county, it's just hard to keep them clean. So usually in the winter we all pile into the house and build a fire in our wood-burning stove and kind of snuggle on the couch or bed, and we watch movies. And that's what we'll do till the thaw comes in March. We got a head start this year with some of the cheesy ones that the kids had not watched before, like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky and what was that? Something Motel Hell. That was it, with the barbecuing of the body parts. They loved that. They thought that was hilarious. Unfortunately, the winter does cut down our exploring times because we can't get out as much. We're limited to where we can go and what we can do. Back in January, Sam and I flew out to LA and did some research there for one of my books. We went to Joshua Tree and stayed at the Joshua Tree Inn, and then we went and stayed on the Queen Mary for a night and did the ghost tour of it. So in future podcasts, I'm going to bring him on and let him talk to you all a little bit about that. Both of those were really neat experiences, and we had a good time. I've also got lots of guests signed up. I've got some paranormal investigators. I have several paranormal authors like L. Sidney Fisher, who writes amazing true supernatural stories, and Heather Marie Adkins, who writes kind of Wiccan fiction, is what I like to call it, and some cozy paranormal authors as well. I have a director from a local historical home that is meant to be haunted, and they'll be on here. So I hope you all keep coming back and hanging out with us. Thanks for joining us.